welcome once again. This is Gist Arena, and all we do is gist, and gist. I am Hayatunde, and as usual, I'm gisting with Cynthia and Adenike. As you know, we have an unfinished business from the last episode, and we're here today to finish what we started. If you have not listened to the last episode, please do so. You can find it right here. Now, where were we? Okay, so now that we have a proposal, I want us to quickly talk about this particular subject matter. Before we still have that Jara, so let's just quickly talk about this and save some time. It'll be like maybe 2-3 questions in one. So proposal, it's like a big deal. It's a huge deal, for some people go all the way. They spend, huge amount of money sometimes, just to organize a proposal, the surprise thing, the paparazzi, the glamour. It's it's cool, I just want us to talk about that. And the question is not necessarily about how should a proposal go, because I think that it's all about individual differences, right? So I'm not going to ask you to say, okay, how should it go? I mean, you do your proposal however you want to do it. Although some people have expectations, okay, and they get annoyed or they get angry when the bro, doesn't propose the way they expect. And to each their own. Anyway, I just wanted to find out, okay, so what would be your preference? I think you already said that she didn't have a ring, so I'm guessing it was, it wasn't such a big, proposal and all of that. Maybe just something private and stuff. That's cool. Me and you, we are kind of like kindred spirits in some areas. Okay. So I think would you have preferred something different from how your proposal went? Cynthia, how would you like a proposal to go? Do you want the the publicity, the glamour, and all of that, or how would you prefer the proposal to be? And then there are also issues of proposal gone wrong, something like that, like the guy proposes and the girl says no, and he's going to do that, in the public, and it looks like a public embarrassment and all of that. What do you think a guy should do to avoid such embarrassment? How does he know what the girl wants? How does he know, even if the girl is ready, to say yes? Do you have any views about that? And then in the same breath, I also want you to also say a few things. I know that this particular one, we cannot, if we really want to get into it, we can't exhaust it, but we've been talking about, getting to know one another and all of that before, you take the big step. So, and I feel that sometimes people, may not necessarily get down to the nitty-gritty of what courtship or dating or what have you, it's all about before they take that giant step. It seems to me like we just have this idea that, it's about going out, to movies, to eateries, to shopping malls, hanging out with friends. And, we see people, all this Heidi posts, and then people say stuff, and then you're wondering, so what were you guys doing during courtship? What did you talk about? So maybe in just 1, 2, 3 sentences, what are the things that you feel people should concentrate on, during that period where they're getting to know each other? What should they focus on? What should they really, really, really try to get to know about their partners? And if there are red flags that they have seen, what should they do about it? Should they try to change the person or walk around it or move on? What do you think about that? Like I said, it's not something that you can exhaust with the time we have, but I just wanted to, just chip something in. So just mention, one, two, three things, and then we'll be done with that, and we can go to that Jara that I talked about earlier. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. And without further ado, let me just go into it because it seems like a lot. So, what's my preference when it comes to proposal? See, I don't have any preference. I just want the guy to be able to say, Cynthia, you know, I think that we should now start taking active steps to actually tying the knot. For me, that is enough. That's all I need. I just wanted to say, okay, I think that I am ready. Are you ready as well to start taking active steps to actually tying the knot? Once you can just communicate that to me, and me too, I accept. That's all I want. That's really all I want. The proposal, the all the big thing. I mean, if a big thing comes, I mean, I would personally, anyways, I wouldn't be with somebody who I am just stringing along. And if I am stringing somebody along, I would clearly communicate that to the person so he also knows that I am stringing him along. But if I am, which I wouldn't do typically, but if I am with somebody, then I'm not stringing you along. We've probably already discussed that we are in this relationship for the purpose of marriage. So as soon as we are ready, that's really my preference. Once you can click safely confirm and say, babe, I am ready. Are you as well ready? Are we on the same page? And I say yes. That's all I need. If the big proposal comes, fine. If it is one day, call me on the phone and says, babe, I think we should now start thinking about let me come and see your, let me come and officially ask your parents for your animal. That's it. All the prosperity of is a rented out one opera, or I mean, all those prosperity that really just what it is, prosperity. So I don't really have any preference. I don't need this. It's not compulsory to have a ring. It's not compulsory to, for me, all of that is really just it just tó bá wọ́ wá, tó bá dé wà kò wá náà nìyẹn. Yorùbá is that if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. That's my own preference. Now, what do I think about public proposals? I think that before anybody does a public proposal, he should be certain that that person is going to give him a yes. And being certain means you've discussed this previously with the person in private. You have, been talking about your future with this person, and the person has said, oh yes, I see myself, in your future. And the person has clearly, I mean, see, it's not only communicating your future with the person, communicating like both of you's future together. It's a different to be telling somebody about your own future. It's different from for both of you to be talking about your future together and seeing them in sync, like the two of you being together. Once I feel like you should be able to do that in private before you now come out, because that's the thing. You come out and kneel down. Yeah, you people are, I mean, the other person is probably just stringing you along, and then you come and take one, go down on one knee, and then you are heartbroken when the person is looking at you like, are you all right? Why are you asking? I mean, why are you proposing to me? All of that. So I feel that before you should actually propose in public, you should have a confirmation that you are both in the right space in private when you guys are on your own. And how would a guy know what his girl wants, a big or a small proposal? If you do not know what your girl wants, what kind of proposal she wants, should you even be in it? I mean, what are you doing together? This is not hard though. Why can't you ask her, hello babe, what would you like? A big proposal or a small intimate proposal? And I know some people would be telling me that I don't want to ask that kind of question. Why can't you ask her? Oh, she wouldn't want to propose to her. These are part of the things that we're talking about. Why are you in a relationship why are you in a relationship with a person you are thinking of marrying? when you've not even told the person you are thinking of marrying, them. Does that make sense? If you have a problem with clearly asking, so if you cannot really tell if the person is, someone that likes a loud proposal, big proposal, or a small one, just ask. Why not be say they tie your mouth together? Just open your mouth and ask the person, babe, what do you think? You can ask stylishly. You don't even have to ask it like maybe like directly. You can say, oh, this maybe you see a video online of a guy that went all out, rented dancers to come and do that. Ask, babe, what do you think about this proposal? The way she would answer would obviously give you an hint into if into if it's something that she's into or not. But if you are unable to find out if she wants a big or a small proposal, bros, I don't know what I really don't understand what you're doing with the babe. Now to what you said on when you asked what should you concentrate on during a courtship, I think most importantly is to know if you're both yoked, if you people believe, if you people have the same value systems, if you believe in the at least majority of things, the important things. Do you believe in the same things? Also, you're supposed to find out if your everyday life can sink into the everyday life of the other person. So the reason why for me the everyday life is very important is because is because if the first one I spoke about, if you guys are yoked together, if you guys have the same value system, and you guys can have same value system, but there's really no like just connection between you. You are going to have a problem in marriage because it will not become a relationship. I mean, it should be as if you're both strangers living in the same space. If you cannot relate on the level of this is why communication matters a lot. Communication, simple thing as, oh, I'm awake this morning, like, babe, hi, good morning, how are you doing? Oh, have a lovely day. Or you call during the day, hello, just to find out how people are doing. That is why I have a major problem. Not me, well, but this is me speaking. It's obviously all of my opinion. I have a problem with people that say that I shouldn't talk with. This is relationship that's leading to marriage. I shouldn't talk with. I don't need to talk to my babe or my guy every day. What are you on about? And you're planning on going to spend the rest of your life with somebody that you think it is a chore to speak to them every day. In fact, it should be a no-brainer when you're talking to your partner several times a day. It should be nothing. When something happens to you, you should be excited. That should be the first person you want to share such news with. So how can you not tell me that you cannot speak to somebody for all these kind of things? These are obviously where if you are unable to share your everyday life with a person. Let's say, for example, you if you, and again, if you, even if your everyday life, so to say, are very different, you should be able to see how you can make a balance between both worlds. Let me give you a very good example. Let's say, for example, you, maybe the guy, you are an early riser and your girl is a late riser. She doesn't wake up early or whatever. Of course, by communicating with her, maybe knowing her schedule for the day, you already know this, and you already have it at the back of your mind that this kind of person she is. Maybe in the way that you relate to her, like maybe you don't call her. Maybe if you wake up by 5, for example, you don't call her at 5. You wait till 10 before you call her. So like that, you already have some sort of rhythm in place. Now, as opposed to when that the guy now you're saying that you, or maybe both of you just decide that you only speak to yourselves 2 times in a week. You guys are heading towards marriage. When you get married, of course, you'll be disappointed when you wake up on the bed at 5 a.m. and your wonderful wife is still snoozing away at 9 o'clock, and like this person is just not serious. Meanwhile, that's just the way she is. But why you don't know? So like you're just trying to know if your everyday life sinks into each other. If they don't, you should be no well. If they don't, if they're not the same thing, you should know how you're willing to accommodate the other person. If you cannot accommodate that person, courtship is a time when you can quickly pull the plug and say, excuse me, or excuse sir, this thing is not working. it is very important for me to get married to somebody who wakes up early in the morning like I do. Of course, some things are very flimsy, but I mean, in fact, are they even flimsy? It's easy for us on the outside to say some things are flimsy, but if as a guy or as a lady you are an early riser and you really want someone that wakes up early in the morning, and you feel like if you don't have that person that wakes up in the morning, there's going to be a problem. You're not going to be able to roll with this person. It's better you tell the person and pull the plug. Not that you now go ahead and marry the person and then you will now start nagging and saying that the person doesn't wake up early in the morning. So for me, courtship period is a period where you understand you attempt to see if your lives can sync, you know, together. And then there's because of, like I said, I've said in previous episodes and probably this episode as well, I'm a Christian. God obviously always guides and directs you. There's also the one that you have to do on your own. God has said this is your wife, that is she. Quite alright. But you need to get to know this person. You need to understand her. She also needs to understand the guy. You know, this is who you are. If she, after seeing everything you are all about, is she willing to take that step with you, or can you see her taking the step with you? Because sometimes people say things, but you just see the way they behave and just know that this is not going to work. These are, so for me, these are things that people do during courtship. You understand? Now, you also asked that if they see red flags, what should they do? Let me use the same example I've been using earlier. You are an early riser. This lady is a late. She doesn't wake up early. What should you do? Two things. You either forget, like, okay, can I work with it? If she's a late riser, how do we do it? Can I wake up early, do things in the morning, and leave her to do this thing or not? If that was to do, that is fine. If you can also bring it to our attention, okay, me, I think that it's important that we wake up early, and these are the benefits of waking up early. She can then come and say, oh, you are absolutely right. I am willing to put in the work. I'm willing to change and all of that. And if she does change, fine for you. If she doesn't change, it's up to you not to see. She said she's going to change, but she really can't change. Is this a deal breaker for me or not? If it is a deal breaker for you, sir, master, please pick your bags and go. Break that courtship. If it is not a deal breaker for you, you can let it go. So of course, some deal breakers, might not make sense to a lot of people, but it is your own deal breaker. That marriage, no be all of us go there inside with you. Now only you go there. So you really need to wonder, if you see any red flag, see, why is it a red flag? Is it a reasonable red flag? Can I do without it? If this red flag continues to be red and doesn't turn to green, you get, can I still like, withhold or withstand it? That's what I think you should, if you see a red flag.
So for me, honestly, I really struggle with public display of affection. And if you remember very well, I told you that initially my husband, when he came with the force of "I want to marry you." It was, I think, within 3 months or 4 months of us meeting, he was already talking about getting married, and I was like, "Bro, chill out. Let's do this thing, let's sort it out." So it was already clear from his intention when he came that he wanted to get married, and I was the one that needed to pray and do all of those things to know. So obviously, by the time I realized that yes, I was into this person, then yeah, we are getting married. So all of those, someone proposed, I'll say, okay, maybe he had some really sweet words in the first 4 months, the first time he spoke about it. And I was the one that was like, chill out, bro. I don't think I'm ready for all of that yet. Calm down. So, but if it was a case where maybe he had to, maybe we had dated for a while and then all of that, and then he had to make his intentions known, then maybe he would have said, okay, there should have been some form of formal proposal. But for me, it doesn't matter. Just make it clear that, Madam, I want to marry you. Madam says yes. I'm not into all of those people who go for a movie, you now go and put ring inside one cake, something. That tends to vex me. Particularly if I'm there to watch a movie, you now come and stop my movie because you want to propose. It tends to vex me, let me not lie. But if that's what makes you people happy now, but I'm not really into public display of affection. And my husband would normally say that the fact that they are showing love publicly does not mean they really love each other. But sometimes I'm like, I believe that speaking, so calm down. But generally, I feel like if you want, I feel I prefer the intimate one where both of us are just maybe in our corner and you're whispering into my ears and all of that. But I don't want, I'm not interested in telling you on the gram, I said yes, or he proposed. It doesn't mean much to me because, again, like I told you, I didn't have any ring to even say I said yes to. The ring that I had came on the wedding day. So for me, I'm more of a, people will tell me that I'm a coded person. But I just think I prefer private things, intimate things. That's what I would say. Okay, so to the other question you asked about, I don't know how to say them, more or less like how to, red flags, things to look out for during courtship. I honestly believe that courtship is the time where you take time to know if you are going to be, you want to be with this person or not. And because I'm coming from the Christian background, you are spending more time in prayer. So you see whatever, so you take time to know this person, obviously, because you all are getting married. And what I like to say is that there are many things that someone can hide from you for 2 years. You can know someone, you can be in a relationship with someone for many years, and there are some things you will not know unless God reveals them to you. So I still like to say that you take more time during courtship to pray together individually so that God will reveal things to you, and then you will know from when God reveals to you if this is the way forward or if you need to back out. So I cannot say easily that when you see so and so back out, because in some cases you find out that God is sending you into that man's life because he wants you to help him in a particular area, which is not a common preaching. So most times people will say, oh, once you see the red flag, you walk away. The answer is not always walking away, but sometimes you are going in with the informed you already have an idea of what you're going to deal with. And I would say that then let God lead you. If God is the one that revealed it to you, then let him tell you your next step. But you see cases where you say, oh, maybe the guy, for example, let's say you find out that the guy is gay, is a homosexual. The question is, do you want to be married as a woman to a homosexual? Is that what you want? I would still say, okay, ask God. But my gut feeling is like, Auntie, flee from every appearance of evil. But of course, with the responsibility of God took his time to reveal it to you, definitely has a follow-up answer. I would say let him be the one to guide you. But people will tell you, flee. That would be my answer if I was giving you my own answer. But I would still just say that if God took his time to reveal it, he definitely has a next step. So I think the wisdom would be, Lord, what is my next step? So I know, I will talk about red flags, you identify things and all of that. And people will come to us, strangers in Facebook or social media strangers, and ask us what to do. I usually like to tell people that come with all of those what to do is, what is God telling you to do? Because it's easy for us to say what we want to say, but you didn't make yourself. You were created for a purpose, so you need to know. Is God telling you to go and labor in that vineyard of converting a homosexual to a straight person? That one, make sure you are hearing well before you enter, because it is a strong battle you are dealing with. Or, okay, so I've looked at the case, or let's say the guy is impotent, for example. You could have been dating for 4 years and you will still not know that he's impotent or is unable to impregnate you. You may not know, except you go for tests and all of that. So I would say that during courtship, spend time to know the person as much as you can, and then ask God to reveal to you the things you cannot know of your own volition, and then let God lead you on your next steps in some cases, the next step is to break off that relationship because it is not the one you are supposed to be in. And in some other cases, it could be that, oh God, so sometimes you hear the stories where men will say that the Lord, they had a revelation, they knew that the woman was not capable of having kids, but they heard God tell them to continue in that relationship. We've heard that. So, most times when it's the man that's standing with the woman, we always are like giving him thumbs up and all of that. But when it's the roles are reversed and the woman finds out that the man has a low sperm count, we are like, sis, flee. Well, I've been on that table a couple of times, but I'm learning that sometimes it may be God saying, okay, sis, go and test your faith. But make sure, sister, if you are going, make sure it is God telling you. Make sure it's not you that is just saying, oh, let's faith it. Make sure that you have a strong assurance that this is what the Lord is saying. Because when the battles come, it's that assurance you have to go back to. So make sure you have it if you are going forward. And by the time God reveals to you some of those hard things that are not easy to go through. And you just always have to remember that there is no perfect human being. So there, you are definitely, as you begin to know someone closer, you're going to begin to see things about someone. Oh, I remember I was reading a book by Stormy Omachi, and I can't remember which of her books it was. And she was saying that at some point she had like a mental meltdown, and it was after her marriage that all of that happened. And she was, well, I can't remember if it was her or her husband, but the revelation from there was that God intentionally told whoever the other partner was that he kept all of this away from you until after you were in there, because you needed to go through this with this person so that you will both come out stronger. I can't remember I think it was in her book Stormy. I can't remember if it was her or her husband, but I think she was the one that had the mental breakdown. And she said the Holy Spirit told her that God deliberately kept that season for after she got married so that she would go through it with her spouse, if I'm remembering correctly. But anyway, one of them had the meltdown, the other one had to go through with the partner. So, many of us always have this Cinderella mindset of that once I get married, my spouse will be perfect. He will do everything I need him to do, or she will do everything I need her to do. It doesn't always work out that way. But the beautiful thing is that if you went in with a sure word from the Lord, when those dark times come, you will be able to hold on to that word and say, Father, you are the one that sent me into this thing, and so I'm going. So in as much as we keep looking for red flags and green flags and white flags and all, they help, but I would say that much more than looking for a red flag, I would recommend that you look for a sure word from the Lord, because you're going to need to rely on those words from the Lord at those dark times when it seems as if you have made a mistake. So you will need to be sure you did not make a mistake. So I hope what I'm saying makes sense.
Wow, wow, wow. Interesting indeed. I think that's a deep one there. Perhaps one of these days we might be able to get, into those deeper waters. But thank you so much for your submission. And Cynthia, thank you too for your view, especially, about a couple, who's intending to get married, being in sync. I do agree with that because I think two people who are intending to spend the rest of their lives together should have more similarities, than dissimilarities. Because for me, when they have more similarities, it's easier for them to flow together, to flow in the same direction. So there's less friction, there's less struggle. But when their dissimilarities are much more than their similarities, then there's a lot of struggle, that they would have to deal with, because it would mean, them going in different directions because they have different, approaches, to situations, and that can cause a lot of friction. So for me, it would be more similar than you are dissimilar. And of course, even the Bible, says that two cannot work together except they agree. So I believe that for two people who want to spend the rest of their lives together, there has to be more agreement, in terms of probably their principles, their values, their approaches to life, even their perspectives and all of that. There should be more agreement than disagreement. All right. And of course, I also agree with you guys, about the proposal thing. Again, we are sort of kindred spirits, right? I mean, I don't care for, all of that public thing. I think I also would, just rather, like, I mean, just ask the question, bro. I mean, does that, I would like a ring though. I mean, I love rings generally. I used to wear rings back in the days, but these days, I just don't really, I mean, there are a lot of things that I don't really care about so much these days, but I think, I mean, if it comes with a ring, I'd really like that. But if not, I mean, I'm not into, the public stuff too. I'd rather, Adeleke described something. She said, oh, I would rather, we have a private moment where he's whispering in my ears and I'm like, ooh, he's whispering sweet nothings, like they say. Yeah, that's more intimate, more romantic for me, rather than, but then again, I mean, to each their own. So if you love a public, proposal and all that glamour, good for you. That's cool. Very, very cool. And, if you are also, team private, I mean, that's also wonderful. The long and short of it is that, you get to your desired goal or your desired destination. And brother, like Cynthia said, you need to figure it out, ask, in very subtle ways how your babe wants the proposal done so that you don't get it wrong. Okay, and then just also tactically find out if she's ready, so if she doesn't, say no to you. At least you should know these things. I mean, you need to know. Don't just assume. All right. So that's that about that. So let's just go to the Jara now. Is it okay for people, to keep friends of the opposite sex when they're in committed relationships? Okay, so probably you guys are, now very committed, and you already know that this is heading towards marriage. Is it okay to keep friends of the opposite sex, or now that you are married? Because some people say, and then friends of the opposite sex now, there are those friends that are called besties, and all of that. Should you have such friends, that you are still very close to, even after you are in a very committed relationship, or even after you are married, should you still have all these besties of the opposite sex? What are your thoughts?
Doc, are you sure someone did not send you to me with this your Jara question? It is well. I studied engineering, so in uni I had more of male friends than female friends. And after we got married, it was one of the issues we had to thrash out, in that I have this male friend that needed me to kind of help him to, I think we were even talking professionally, basically. He needed me to put him through a couple of things professionally, and along the line we also had a few personal issues too. He had a few personal issues I was supposed to be helping him sort out. And so, because of this need to help and all of that, we would talk into the night and all of that. And I think initially my husband was testing it, but at some point he spoke out and he was like, now wow, every time you people, on my way from work, I'm chatting with this friend. It was all innocent and all, but eventually he had to speak up, and he was like, Auntie, please. So we finally came to the middle ground where we agreed that whatever discussions I'm having with him, once it's 8 p.m., you stop. I know it's really funny that I fell into that trap because I'd helped some of my friends. So, the lady was my friend, the guy was my friend, they were dating, they didn't get to marry, but the lady married someone else, but somehow she and the other guy who was her ex kept in touch. I know I got involved then, and I had given them the counsel of that, oh no, respect your husband. That's what I told my friend. And then when it got to my turn, it didn't become glaring to me that I was doing exactly what those my friends were doing. In my own case, because I didn't date this guy, I just felt like, oh, I'm just being friends with him. But it was when my husband spoke up and was like, Auntie, please respect boundaries. Initially we had a lot of back and forth, and I was like, there's nothing in there. It's just my friend. It was beginning to become a lot of trouble. But with the benefit, eventually I was like, okay, just for peace sake, let me just back down. And much later, I realized that I would have felt terrible if the tables were turned as well. And so I think if you want to maintain a relationship with your ex or with your friends of the opposite gender, you should do it without disrespecting your spouse. I know we found out in some cases that some of these exes and friends, people are still sleeping with one another. So just respect your spouse. Let the boundaries be there. It's not, I don't think it's ideal for you to be gaslighting your spouse by saying that, oh, you're being insecure and all of that. I think you are gaslighting your spouse if you don't maintain healthy relationships. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to them anymore, but you should do it with a lot of respect for your spouse. If your spouse is uncomfortable with that relationship, I think you should take your spouse's what they call it, your spouse's feelings and concerns into consideration, because it's disrespectful if your friend or your ex has a better say or has a hold. Or you hear some cases where the ex or the friend is the one telling the spouse that, oh, Nika likes people to buy her perfumes. Why don't you buy her the perfume? I just think it's disrespectful. Show your spouse respect, because both you are no longer alone. Whatever it is you're doing with your ex or with your friend, let it be something that your spouse, if your spouse raises concerns, don't invalidate them. Don't gaslight them with, oh, you're being insecure. Chill out. Please respect your spouse. That's what I would say. Thank you.
To be honest, I wouldn't be saying something different from what Adenike has just said. I told that line of thought that she has just said. So, I believe you can keep friends of the opposite sex when you are in a committed relationship, as well as when you are in marriage. However, you have to do it with respect to your spouse and with respect to your partner, because now it's no longer about you. It's about the two of you. Your actions would affect each other. So if you're dealing with somebody of the opposite sex, I think it's first and foremost important that your spouse knows about this person. So there's nothing like you're hiding to chat with the person. If you're doing something for the person, please can you let your spouse know? And we know how conversations that go into the dead of the night turn out. We are more emotional, or we're kind of softer when we're speaking into the dead of the night, the wee hours of the morning and all of that. And when you do that over time with the same person, studies have shown that there's sort of some sort of emotional connection that is born during that period. So if you speak to somebody maybe only at night or wee hours of the morning, or speak to the person, just know how to place boundaries. Apart from all these wee nights, this thing, even with the interaction that you have with the person, what kind of interactions are you having, with the person? Make sure you put reasonable boundaries. You yourself, what your own limit is, and walk within your own boundaries. And as soon as, just like Adenike said, as soon as your spouse mentions that they are uncomfortable with this particular person, seek to understand why this person has raised concerns. And when you are listening to the person, please listen to understand. Don't listen to react, because that's what a lot of people do. They're listening to, they can fire back. How dare you say that? How dare you do this? How dare no, don't do that. Listen to understand the person. Put yourself in that person's shoes. If that person was doing exactly what you were doing, how would you feel about it? If you are unable to even reason objectively, bring in a third party who has sense and relay what has happened to the person. You can say it maybe abstractly to the person, and let the person give feedback. From there, you are able to understand the point of view of your partner or your spouse. So yes, I believe you can keep friends of the opposite sex, but I also think that if your spouse has a problem with it, and rightfully so, because like I said, you would listen to understand and actually put yourself in your spouse's shoes. Once you can do that and you can see that, okay, well, I understand where this person, it could just be a slight concern that makes sense. Once that makes sense, please try and make adjustments to your communication and relationship with this person. And if you see that in making those adjustments with this person, you might lose the friendship. And I think you have to make a tough call of which of the relationship is more important to you. Your relationship with your spouse or partner, or your relationship with your friends. Unfortunately, that's what I think.
Awesome views there. Thank you, Adenike and Cynthia, for your submissions. I completely agree with you. So while there is nothing wrong with keeping friends of the opposite sex when you're in a committed relationship or when you're married, I mean, you had these friends before, and you're not going to throw your friends away, but you must understand the place of, boundaries. You must keep appropriate boundaries. You need to put that in place, and you should respect, your spouse's feelings. Okay. And you don't even have to wait for your spouse to complain or anything like that before you do the right thing. The right thing to do is to just keep, the appropriate boundaries. Now, that you're in a committed relationship or you're married. And I also want to address the bestie, uncle or auntie bestie. Nobody should even tell you, that you need to, shift a little, just, give a little space. You understand now that the dynamics in your relationship will, change in some ways. Okay. So you can't have the attention like you used to. You can't be all that cozy, like you used to. Okay. You need to respect that too, and also put the boundaries that are necessary in place. Don't wait till somebody complains somewhere before you know the right thing to do. I mean, we all know what is right, so let's just do what is right, and everything will just go smoothly. Okay, as we try to round up, let me ask, because I think I mentioned something, about not gaslighting your spouse by saying that they are insecure and all of that. But honestly, there are some spouses that are quite possessive in nature, and they don't want to see you at all. It's not because of anything. It's not because you are overstepping boundaries or anything like that. They just don't want to see you around, someone of the opposite sex, when you are with them, like when you're in a relationship with them or when you're married to them. They don't want you around any other person that is of the opposite sex. How do you handle that? If you have a possessive partner that would not even allow you talk to, someone of the opposite sex, anything you do with someone of the opposite gender, they are suspicious of you. You can't have, such interactions with the opposite gender. How will you handle that?
Oh, well, thank you so much, Ayatunde. So for me, these are two different scenarios, and so I'm going to give two different views on them. So for the situation when you're still in a when you're still in a relationship with a person, and you're not yet married, and your partner has a problem with you, just having conversations or speaking or keeping friends with the opposite gender. I think, and you very well know that there's no truth to his or her concerns and everything. I think it's necessary for you to sit the person down, sorry, and have a discussion about it. Let the person understand that, look, there is nothing between me and these people. It's just simply having a platonic relationship. Explain to the person, let the person see, show the person, if possible, evidences. If it is chatting, what do you chat about? If you call, if the person calls, like, try and speak to the person around your partner. If after all of this the person still does not understand and see, I just understand really why you have to keep friends with the opposite sex, I think that you might want to pull the plug. This is me, because I don't see it getting any better from there, unless of course you want to become a loner. If you want to become a loner, then that is fine. It means that you're ready to cut off all relationships with other people, so that you can be with your partner, so that you can satisfy your partner that said that he or she doesn't want you to have contact with other people. Now, if you're married to this person, of course you cannot just up and leave anything. So again, you're going to go through the first thing. So try to let the person understand. The person is not understanding and everything. You might want to bring in someone that your partner respects, someone that someone that your partner respects. But before you do that, I mentioned previously that, not in this my other response, where I said that if your spouse is saying that, I don't like the way you're spending time with this person, please can you bring in an objective observer. Tell the person. If the person agrees with you that definitely there is no cause for concern on your own end, then I would advise you to bring in somebody that your spouse respects and let them know what is going on. Maybe they will be able to get through to your partner to explain things and everything. If that doesn't work, then I think that it's it might be sad, but I think that you will have to, I don't know, put things on pedestal. Which one do you want? Your marriage, or your, to be able to have access to other people? Of course, if it is if your partner is saying don't talk to any other person, as in any other the other gender, if you're female, and your husband is saying don't talk to males, then you might have to decide whether you want to do it the way person has said, or go to the highway. If you're male and your wife is saying that I don't want you to talk to females and whatever, you make a decision. Is your wife worth it? And people make sacrifices all the time. Sometimes these sacrifices are not healthy. So if you're saying you want it your way, and reasonably your way is the correct way, and your spouse is saying no, it cannot work, only work, then you have to decide whether you want to stick with your spouse, or you want to just be on your own, to be honest. Because at the end of the day, so you must make a decision. It's a very hard one to make. Last, I'm still a Christian. Last, prayer, Lord, show prayer for me. But speaking of what to do, I think that if you've exhausted all other opportunities, all other avenues to make the person understand that this is not, try counseling, calling someone a person respects. There's so many things that you can do just to make them see, the truth. But if they don't want to see it, then like I said, you might have to make the ultimate decision of whether your spouse is worth it, or whether you just want to, be on your own. That's it.
Hey, all these cases of people that are so possessive and all of that. For me, I would like to divide my answer into two. If it's someone you are dating, my own standard answer is, well, just tell them bye bye and separate. But with benefit of growing up and all, I would say as much as possible, if you can help them by letting them realize that it is not normal behavior for you to just be suspecting people up and down, and they need to get therapy. Honestly, that's the people, someone that is so possessive, some people will tell you that they dreamt that you are cheating, and based on their dream, you're supposed to be living based on their dream. They may need to speak with a therapist or something, because it's not normal behavior. It's a separate case if maybe you're picking up on vibes and all of that eventually turns out to be right. But if the person is just possessive because they are possessive, they need to deal with it. It's not normal. And if you're dating, there's opportunity to jackpot if you can't manage it. Well, if you think you can't handle it and you need to leave that relationship, me, honestly, I will not judge you. But just make sure that you're doing it again in line with what God has told you, if you are going about it as a believer. But if you're married to the person, of course, like Cynthia said, it's not easy to jackpot like that. In that particular case, you probably would need to go with them for therapy, help them understand that possessiveness is not always a good sign, or some people think it's a sign of love, and it may be because they've been raised that way, and all the people they've ever dealt with have dealt with them that way. So it may actually be that they have an issue that needs to be addressed medically, and you can support them through it. Let them understand that it is not normal behavior, because you have some cases where in the bid to prove that there's not there in their bid to prove that you are the one that is wrong, they get to the point where maybe you're having a lunch date with your boss and they come and embarrass you. It's not normal behavior. You need to help them realize that. And if you can, that if you're dating and all, and you haven't committed so much to such a person and you want to opt out, I honestly will not judge you. But if you choose to stay, help them realize that it's not normal behavior. It's something that they need to get help with. And so if you are the one listening and you're always quickly suspecting your spouse or partner of infidelity, even if they haven't given you a reason for it, you may want to check your behavior. It's not normal behavior. That's just all I wanted to let you know. That it's not normal. I know they've not done anything really to justify your feelings of insecurity, and it's just all happening in your head. In that case, you may want to get help. But if you've picked up on vibes, and you can actually point to reasons that when someone else hears from you, they can say, no, this one is true. And then at that point, you want to deal with it. But if it's just all in your head, or it's based on the fact that you've heard that all men cheat or all women cheat, you need to get help. That's my solution. That's my submission.
Bam. In fact, plenty goes as for Adenika and Cynthia. You've said it all. If you're in a committed relationship with someone who's so possessive, someone who's always suspicious of you, someone who doesn't want you to mingle with other people, especially people, of the opposite gender, and some would even stalk you. Yes, it can't be as bad as that. You might want to reconsider, you dust your slippers or your shoes and then talk to your heels. You might want to do that. But, well, just as Adenike said, if you're open to helping them, seek some therapeutic intervention, if you have the grace, why not? It's good to help. So it's something good that you can do for that person, but then that would be subject to the person's willingness to actually go through therapy. And like I think I also established, it's not normal if you are, the possessive person, the possessive partner that would not, see, it's not realistic for you to expect that your partner would not mingle with someone of the opposite gender. It can't happen. All right. It's not realistic. At work or in church, here and there, your partner will mingle with someone of the opposite sex. Okay. And if they have not really given you any reason to be suspicious of them, and so if your suspicion is just is not valid, it doesn't have any genuine basis, then you need to seek help. And I am always for people, taking um, responsibilities for themselves. Don't put that burden on another person, and expect somebody else to help you with your issues. You find help for yourself, okay? And then the people in your life can support you, but you take the step when you know that you're doing something that is not so all right or okay. Then seek the help, because it's not like some people don't know that what they are doing is wrong, but they want to do it and they expect people to accept them like that. Go and seek help. But then, of course, if the person doesn't have insight into their problems, okay, their significant others can help them. So if you're in a committed relationship with somebody like that, and you're open to the possibility of going to therapy with them, and they are also willing, to go to therapy, why not? This person is your loved one. You can help them with that. And if you are married to the person, now I want to believe that this kind of behavior is not one that can, be hidden for so long. So I want to believe that the person must have been displaying this kind of behavior while you were in a committed relationship before you got married to the person. But if you saw those signs and then you went along with it, oh well, you carry your cross. Yeah, you carry your cross. And of course, I am really glad that both Cynthia and Adenike, mentioned counseling, therapy, and all of that. That's something, that of course you should look into, you should pursue, and just see how you can help the person. You're already in it. It's not easy to say, oh, I'm not doing again. You're not doing Guinea. You have entered this one. Okay, so you can look for other practical ways, to help this person, or to at least, again, help them see the wrong in what they are doing, especially if you have not given them, that kind of vibe that you you have the tendency to be unfaithful. If you have not given them that kind of vibe, then you might seek alternative ways to help them see that what they are doing is wrong. And last, like Cynthia said, prayer is the key. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the master key. So you know what to do. All right. It's been so interesting, just think about this particular topic. And I am sure our wonderful audience, you really enjoyed this gist that we brought to you. Thank you for tuning in and listening to us. And I want to say thank you to Cynthia and Adenike for making this gist interesting and exciting as always. We'd like to hear from you. We really want to hear from you. What do you think about today's discussion? Is there something you disagree with? Do you have an observation? What are your thoughts? We really want to hear from you. Please do slide, into our DM on IG. The handle is Gist Arena. Okay, Danica likes to call it Gist Arena. Hey, all right. So, Gist Arena's this particular arena ends with double A. Okay, Gist Arena that ends with double A. So please do, slide into a DM and tell us what you think. Probably you have suggestions for us, or there are topics you'd like us to, look into. We just love to hear from you. And of course, please follow us and, drop your comments, likes, and please share, our channel. Yes, please, we'd love you to share and invite others, to listen to us. We would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And of course, if you prefer to send us an email, you can also do that. Just send the email to gistarena@gmail.com. Again, the Gist Arena hands with double A, Gist Arena, A, like Adenike would always say. So thank you once again, for being a part of today's episode. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. So until I come your way again, or until we come your way again, it's your favorite gister, or most favorite gister. Yes, I'm keeping that title. That stuff that Adenike said about NAFDAC number. I don't know what she was saying, or maybe she was speaking Greek. I'm keeping that title. So this is your favorite gister signing out and saying, do have a blessed weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Gist Arena. We hope you enjoyed the topic discussed. Please drop your comments and let us know what you think about it. We'll definitely love to hear from you. Until next time, bye!